5. Daring little boy. Initial task. Have you done something that is brave in your opinion and that act has been appreciated by others? We must always be alert in every situation and be brave in critical situations. It will help us to fight in that situation. Read the story to know how the bravery of a little boy saved his motherland. Many years ago, there lived in Haarlem a bright, friendly boy named Hans Brinker. His father worked at the dike. His job was to open and close the large gates at the entrances of the canals to control the flow of water. He had to close the gates carefully at night, else the water would soon overflow and flood the place. Hans' father had told him that a big part of their country lay lower than the level of the sea. For a very long time in the past, Hollanders used mounds of earth to save their land from tides. Now they have learned to construct dikes or barriers. Hans knew that a moment's neglect of his father's duty could cause destruction and death. Hans was a caring and selfless boy and always wanted to share all he had. One bright spring, his mother had made his favorite cake. After eating his share, he begged his mother to let him go to the other side of the dike to see a poor blind man who lived there. He wanted to give him a portion of the delicious cake. His mother was pleased that her little boy had thought of the poor old man. She at once brought a basket and filled it with cakes for him to carry to the man. Hans' father made his 8-year-old son promise not to stay out too late. Soon the boy was on his way, thinking how happy the old man would be. The little fellow was not mistaken. The old man was delighted to have the cake. After spending an hour with him, Hans said goodbye and started for his home. His path lay beside the dike. Along its grassy banks grew beautiful wildflowers, so attractive that Hans picked a bunch of them for his mother. He walked home humming a happy song. As he was walking along the canal, he thought of his father's brave old gates and felt glad about their strength for thought Hans. If the dikes gave way, where would father and mother be? These pretty fields would all be covered with angry waters. Father always calls them the angry waters. I suppose he thinks they are mad at him for keeping them out so long. He also listened to the stealthy sound of a rabbit in the grass and smiled as he recalled the happy light he had seen on the face of his blind old friend. Suddenly, he noticed that the sun was setting and he was still some distance from home. It was growing dark, and even the blue flowers had turned to grey. But just as he began to walk quickly, he heard the sound of trickling water. Where did it come from? He looked up and saw a small hole in the dike through which a tiny stream was flowing. Any child in Holland would be filled with fear at the thought of a leak in the dike. Hans understood the danger. That little hole would soon become a large one and result in a terrible flood. Quick as a flash, he saw his duty. Throwing away his flowers, the boy clambered up the heights until he reached the hole. He saw the leak could be stopped with one finger, so he thrust his chubby little finger in the hole. The flow stopped. Ah, he thought, Harlem shall not be drowned while I am here. The night was falling rapidly. Chilly vapors filled the air. Our little hero began to tremble with cold and fear. He shouted loudly, "Come here! Come here! Come here!" But no one came. The cold grew more severe. His tired little finger began to become numb. The ache spread to his arm, and soon his whole body was paining. He shouted again, "Will no one come? Mother! Mother!" At home, his mother had already locked the doors and had resolved to scold him when he returned for keeping out of the house for long. Hans tried to whistle, but his teeth chattered with cold, so it was impossible. Yet he was determined. He thought, "I will stay here till morning." The midnight moon looked down upon the small boy sitting alone upon a stone halfway up the dike. His head was bent, but he was not asleep. He waited for someone to come. He knew if he drew away his finger, the angry waters would rush forth over the town. No, he would hold it there till daylight, if he lived. At daybreak, he saw a man with a lantern in his hand. He was a laborer returning after work all the night. The man thought he heard groans as he walked along the top of the dike. Bending, he saw far down on the side a child writhing with pain. "In the name of Wonder Boy," he exclaimed, "what are you doing there?" "I am keeping the water from running out," was the simple answer of the little hero. "Tell them to come quick." It is needless to add that they did come quickly. The town of Haarlem and a great part of Holland was saved. Years passed, many things were forgotten, but the country is still grateful to the little hero who kept his finger in the dike. Vocabulary: dike, a wall built to prevent the sea or river from covering an area. Destruction, the act of destroying something. Stealthy, having or done in a cautious and superstitious manner or as not to be seen or heard. Trickling, flow in a small stream. Clambered, climb or move in an awkward and laborious way. Writhing, to twist or bend out of shape or position. Numb, unable to feel anything. Groans, deep, long sounds showing great pain or unhappiness. Grateful, feeling that you want to thank someone. Grammatical structure: abstract nouns and concrete nouns. An abstract noun is the name given to a feeling. We cannot see, hear, smell, taste, or touch abstract nouns. For example, he is very fond of music. Here, music is abstract noun. We cannot touch or see the music. Concrete noun. A concrete noun is the one which you can touch and see. They have shape and size. We can feel these with our hand. For example, there is a salt on the table. Here, salt and table are concrete nouns. We can touch and see the salt and the table. A. Form a sentence using each of these abstract nouns and concrete nouns. B. Circle the abstract nouns and underline the concrete nouns in the given sentences. Educational skills. There is a statue in the Netherlands. It is made in the memory of Hans, the young hero. If you were to honor a hero, how would you do so? By making a statue, by painting a stamp, by planning an event, by writing a book on him or her, by naming a road, park, etc. after him or her, any other way you think appropriate. What, according to you, would be a better tribute? Why? Give a small speech in the class on above topic. Let's listen. Listen to two incidents of animals' bravery, read by your teacher and fill in the table. 1. In Mumbai, 2-year-old Arif was playing with his grandmother in the garden. Suddenly, their dog Puggy became very disturbed. He began jumping and barking. The grandmother thought it would be best to take the child inside. Arif's mother heard the dog barking and came out. She saw Puggy fighting with a 24-inch snake. She called for help. The snake was killed. Puggy too had to be admitted into a veterinary hospital for 24 days. 2. In Chennai, Radha was woken up at 4:45 a.m. by the cries of the family cat Sparky. The cries were from the garage. Radha went downstairs to check what had happened. She saw smoke and flames. She quickly grabbed the cat and rushed back inside to wake up her husband and their 5 children. The fire destroyed the garage and a bedroom. None of the family members were harmed thanks to the cat's cry. What animal was it? What was the danger? Whom did the animal save? How did the animal save them?